Welcome in, welcome in. This is your Wakanda RN. Always have a lot on my mind, but I'm not here to waste your time. Man, I'm so happy. I got a special guest. Do you mind introduce yourself to the audience and tell us who you are?
Absolutely. I am Samira. I'm also a nurse. I've been in healthcare for a very long time. I am the co CEO of We Got You Covered. That is a modest medical apparel brand. And we are striving to fill the gap in medical apparel where modesty meets function and fashion. That's just like the small condensed form of who I am.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I appreciate that. So, tell us a little bit about, your specialty, your journey. Tell us what experience you got. Tell us just a little bit about that.
So I always try to think about it, but I believe I've been in healthcare for like 20 plus years.
Okay.
I started as a doula and I actually still doula babies sometimes. I think
Nice.
one of my recent, well, not recent, but one of the later babies that I've done, she turned, I think, 8 years old. But I've been helping women with that process for a long time. And then I was a CNA for some years, and then I became a nurse. And I've worked. I'm doing my soft nursing now. I do insurance and just like
Okay.
flu clinics, wellness clinics, very easy peasy, not a lot of stress.
Okay.
um, but I've worked with like obviously the elderly. I've worked in mom and baby, um, pediatrics. I was a pediatric nurse for a while. I worked at for a doctor when I lived in New York. So I kind of have a little bit of experience underneath my belt when it comes to that. I worked in home health, PDN. Like I'm trying to think of all the different.
Okay.
I got a pile of badges somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you got quite a bit of experience, and then we need that. We need that. So I'm gonna come back to that a little bit, but I do want to touch on something. So tell me about your experience, about your particular faith being in healthcare. What does that mean for you, and how are you able to take your faith on a day to day basis being in healthcare?
So I wasn't born Muslim. I became Muslim when I was 20. So I've
Okay.
been Muslim for like 28 years. And since that time, I've worn the headscarf, hijab. I've worn it all
Mhm.
that time. And I've had different experiences because I lived up north. I lived in New York,
Okay.
Brooklyn, and then I lived upstate New York, and now I live in the Carolinas. And so I've had a lot of questions. I've had people not want me to be their nurse because of the hijab.
Mhm.
A lot of times that's with the elderly, unfortunately,
Yeah.
just because they have their biases, I'll say, and they're
Right.
not understanding. I've had people ask me before I even say a word, "Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you speak English?" Um,
That's so messed up.
it's really jacked up, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. I speak English." you know, um,
Yes.
I've had people say, "Can you take your hood off?" Different things. Is it cold outside that you have all that on? Or
Mhm.
literally feel like I'm not competent to give them care and ask for another nurse. And sometimes that's possible, but sometimes that's just not possible, to
Right.
switch depending on what the day looks like, what floor you're working on, what area you may not be able to switch. So I always, try to embrace it with kindness and I prefer people to ask questions than assume, right? And
Mhm.
so I just always try to educate more than anything. Of course, I'm a human being, so there's times in my life where that's gotten annoying or
Mhm.
you don't feel like sometimes you just don't feel like telling people what the deal is. It's like at some point it's like you go Google it.
Right.
you know?
Right.
But
Yes.
I try, when we're as nurses and people in healthcare, the reason why we got there is because we have an empathetic side. We have that ingrained nurturer in us.
Mhm.
That should be the reason for most people. These new people, I don't know, but
Oh,
I'm not
man.
gonna say nothing about that.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, you man, yeah, yeah.
We not
We
even
gone
we that's probably a whole
yeah.
nother show.
Yeah, I know it, I know. We that may be a whole part 2 or something, but I already know. I will say
Yeah,
though, it I if I could relate to that somewhat, I'm sure you've experienced this as well. I mean, I've had people of the younger generation and older generation that have told me that, as a black male, they've told me like, we don't see too many of us in this space, so
absolutely.
it's good to see somebody like you in this space. And I would imagine it's the same thing for you to see a Muslim woman within this healthcare space. I feel like there's a lot of Muslims, both male and female, that need to see like, hey, we have one of ours that's taking care of us. I mean, have you experienced anything
Absolutely.
like that, or can you kind of
I
elaborate
would
on that?
absolutely agree on like a couple of levels. Like when I was in nursing school and they have the chapters when we're going to talk about diversity, we're going to talk about different
Mhm.
religions and things like that. It was very interesting because my teacher was always like, hey, can you give more information on this? And it's like, although I don't mind, I feel like there should be more culturally, you know, information, right? So even as
Yes.
Black people, we want to be, there's things culturally. So
Hmm.
a lot of times, as a Muslim, I am Black. As a Black Muslim, it's different than other races of Muslims, right? There is a
Yes.
general umbrella. So majority of women, although we are taught in school about keeping people covered and, you know, only exposing what you need to look at, that doesn't always happen, but that's very important to like a Muslim woman.
Hmm.
So a lot of times culturally, some Muslim women only want female practitioners. They may not want even, any type of male there. Now,
Hmm.
there is a difference, in an emergency situation, you gotta take who's available, and we know
Right.
that. But if we can accommodate, of course, you will want to accommodate. I've had people light up, honestly, Muslim people light up when they see me as their nurse because it's not although there may be Muslims, there a lot of them don't wear hijab.
Mm.
So it's comforting, I think, to see, a Muslim practitioner being there to take care of them. The same way I think for any Black person, it's comforting when you have, a Black practitioner taking
Yes.
care of you as well. So I think it's important, and they're I don't think like just culturally things are talked about on maybe what they would like or dislike. Even there's food restrictions. You don't
Hmm.
want to give a Muslim any pork,
Hmm.
and some of these things are just missed in the, I guess, education part of it. So,
Yes. Yes, yeah. I second that. I second
yep.
that. I remember, yeah, I'm way in the South. I kind of, I mean,
Where are
some of the
you
stuff,
at?
yeah. So Oklahoma, Texas, that's where I'm located, around that
Okay.
area. And so, it's funny because down here, there's not many Muslim men or women down in this area.
Mhm.
So, but I do have people who are Muslim faith that I've taken care of, and I remember I had a particular patient that had dietary restrictions. And I remember that one time on her plate, somebody tried to give her pork and she has Alzheimer's. And I remember I said, she cannot have that. She
Mhm.
cannot have that. And everybody was like, why can't she? I said,
Mhm.
it's because it's part of her dietary restrictions. She's
Mhm.
Muslim. And
Mhm.
some people look, they were blank. They didn't understand, like, what's the difference? I'm like,
Right.
you have to respect people's cultural preferences. This
Even
is
if
what
she
we
can't
do.
remember it.
Yes, 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 and they thought I was crazy, and sure enough, that port got removed, but
Yeah.
they didn't understand, and so, being those advocates, you gotta have the advocacy for your patients, you have to respect cultural preferences and differences, even if it's different than your own, you still have to respect people. That's why we get into this field because we're empathetic, we're nurturers, just like you talked about. So you saying that just reminded me of that particular story. So I had to share that real quick. I
No,
just had
that's wonderful. I'm glad that you were aware enough to be an advocate, and I think there needs to be, more talk. I think as time has progressed, there has been, more talk on it and there has been more understanding, I would say.
mhm,
Um, but I feel like when I went to school, it was, and I went to school in Pennsylvania. I was living on the
okay.
border of New York and Pennsylvania, and I feel like some of those people, I was the first Muslim that they ever saw. And, so it was interesting, but I always say I don't want to be a teacher, but I've been a teacher for years.
Sometimes you're thrust into that role regardless, you know?
Yep.
But I did want to ask you, can you please tell us about the business? Please tell us about the materials that you make for modest
Yes.
clothing. Can you please tell us more about that? How did you get started? And tell us generally about it.
Oh man. So I do tell my story, on social media often. Um, we've only been in business or selling modest scrubs for a little over a year. But when I went to nursing school, for me, now this is not everybody's level of modesty. My level of modesty is I'm going to wear hijab, which is a scarf. Any shirt that I wear is going to cover my behind. So it's going to be mid thigh at least.
Uh-huh.
So obviously, we know what the scrubs look like. They don't quite do that, right? And
Yes.
so when I was in nursing school, I actually asked, they give you that one scrub, and I was like, I'm going to need two. I'll pay for extra because I
Uh-huh.
needed to take one. I cut it and then I sewed it to the bottom of the other one to kind of make two flaps, one in the front and one in the back, so that at least my behind was covered. And so I did that during nursing school. And then after I kind of like used to sew my own scrubs, I used to take things and like patch it together. And I just was like, this looks dumb. Like you don't even look professional and well put together. I got to a point where I started buying scrub dresses and like altering them to like make them kind of what I thought would be, still a scrub, but appropriate,
Mhm.
with pants or whatever. And so I'm like, this is annoying. The fabric was not nice. It was cotton, no stretch. It was just, it faded, all of these different things. So I have another friend who's my business partner, and she actually made her own scrubs in nursing school. Like she went to the dean and was like, listen, I can't wear those regular scrubs. And she's a little fluffier than I am. So she was like,
Okay.
I'm a fluffy
Okay.
girl and I just can't do that. So they
Uh-huh.
actually allowed her to make her scrubs. And it was interesting at that time. And mind you, this is years ago that a lot of the other students were like, hey, where was that option at? Where'd that come from?
Mhm.
Jumping ahead, I guess about 5 years ago, we were talking and I was still like working out and about, not doing insurance at that time. And I was like, all my scrubs are faded. I don't feel like sewing. I don't feel like buying anything. I, s- in my mind, I was like, why has nobody come up with this idea? Like, what?
Great.
There's a lot of us Muslims out there. Why don't you want to help us be covered? And so I said, I'm about to just make my own scrub brand. And I was talking, this is one of my really good friends, 20 plus years of friendship, almost 30 years of friendship. And she was like, let's do it together. And literally that moment, we just started sketching and asking our coworkers questions and other Muslim healthcare workers that we know, what would you want? What do you like? What do you not like? Surveying everybody. Like I said, about a little over a year ago, after getting a million prototypes, having several different manufacturers,
Okay.
breaking the bank, um,
Okay.
we finally, came out with a design. And just a couple of weeks ago, we released our second design. So it's
Hey, have you subscribed or followed yet? If you want more content like you're seeing now, then just give a follow. Help me help you.
what's the word? Like a love project. It's really
Okay.
dear to our hearts because we struggled, right, for so many
Yeah.
years. And we've
Okay.
spoken to so many women that maybe aren't as boisterous as we are, that have
Yeah.
struggled and continue to struggle, but there aren't any options. Um, I think today there might be like four other Muslim brands that offer something similar to me. But
4? Is that
yeah, there's
it?
about four of them now.
Whoa. I didn't
Yeah.
know it was that few. Wow. Okay.
But I
Okay.
mean, when you think about scrub brands, sneaker brands, the bread aisle, four is like a drop in the sea. So, we're steady marketing it and trying to, make people know that we exist.
Mhm.
As we continue to work our 9 to 5s and kind of, it's like a bootstrap. We don't have any outside funding or sourcing or anything. It's just we really believe in this mission, and we are just trying to, you know, get it out there to as many women as possible.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
What's the feedback been so far?
The feedback has been amazing actually. We really ask our customers a lot of questions like, what would you want differently? What changes? What do you like? What do you love? What do you hate, if there's anything you hate? And really, I think in the year and a half, maybe that we've been selling, it's less than a year and a half, but I'll just use that number. About a year and a half, we've maybe had like two returns,
That's
over that
impressive.
time. So
That's impressive.
everybody loves them, and it's funny because a lot of men, we get a lot of comments from men. Well, why can't you make one for men? Why can't you make one that's a little longer for men? Come
Okay.
on now.
Oh
So
man, maybe one day, right?
I
But
listen, I'm like, can we just have this? Can y'all go tell your wives and your sisters and whoever else needs
there you
this?
go. There you go. There you go. But I think that's speaks volumes to what you guys are doing though. I mean,
Thank you.
obviously the target audience is Muslim women. And so even if it's just a couple of guys, I mean, I think that still speaks to me. I mean, they're interested in your products. I mean, I think that
Yes,
counts for something. So
absolutely.
I think that's pretty cool. I
Thank
really,
you.
really do. So, I mean, it sounds like you guys, you have your business partner, you guys have been working hard, you guys have been getting feedback. Where do you see this business? If you have you thought about like the next 3 years or the next 5 years? Like where do you see this business? How do you envision it? Tell us about it.
Well, we've thought about it a lot, because
Okay.
really the scrub industry is like $1 billion industry, right?
Oh
Just
yeah.
scrubs alone.
Oh yeah.
And so this right now, thinking about this we've thought about this for years and just never put our idea to action. And I think, obviously for me, 3 years, we will be quitting our 9 to 5s and, doing this full time. That is the one of the many 3 year goals. And really, this can be, a big business. This can be a multi-million-dollar business because we're right there on the ground building it up. And there's not a lot of other, companies that do this. None of the big name companies have come out with a product like ours to facilitate not only
Mhm.
Muslim women, but any women that want to be covered. Now, like I know that you've seen Victoria's Secret at the job, okay? Because I mean, and some
Yeah.
of it to me is just too much.
It
Regardless
is.
if I
It
dress
is.
this way, covered, we're here to take care of people. You
Yes.
gotta wait till you go outside to do all that. Like, you know what I
Preach.
mean?
Preach.
Some of
Oh,
it is just like, this shouldn't be we gotta upgrade these rule books or something. But that's a whole nother situation. But we do believe, most of our customer base is United States, but this is a worldwide, thing. Even with our market research, there are not other companies, in other countries that have something similar that we have either. So, this can reach worldwide, as long as we get our marketing together and we get, more people to know who we are, it can go big. And we're personable. So who wouldn't love us is how we feel.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. So tell me a little bit. How have you guys marketed your brand? How have you guys marketed your business up until this point?
A lot of our marketing is social media, which is like free marketing, word of mouth. We do travel sometimes and do different vending events. We've gone to a couple of the larger Islamic events that have like 50,000 plus people there, where there'll be a lot of vendors. And I mean, of course, it because we're such a small percentage of us, we're usually the only modest medical apparel brand there. So it does very well. So that's really what we've done, is a lot of self marketing, and we're looking into because we're nurses, like we're in healthcare, we're not
Yes.
like business people, we're just
Yes.
doing it, you know what I mean? So
Yes. Yes, I do.
we're learning kind of as we're going. So we take feedback, we take classes, we go to events and different marketing functions, just trying to, let people know who we are.
I love that, man. I feel as though because what you're saying right now, and I hope the listeners can grasp this because whether you're gonna join in with your company here, you're gonna sell modest scrubs or not, everybody has a entrepreneurship mindset, or maybe something they want to do, maybe something they want to sell, maybe they have a dream. I feel as though that what you're laying out right here, you have to do the work. It's not going to come to you overnight. It's not going to just fall in your lap. It sounds like you and your business partner are putting in the work. It that
Absolutely.
that's what it sounds like to me. You still got your 9 to 5s and you still going to classes, you're going to venues, you're doing, the marketing, you're doing all this. And I think that's the side that people need to hear and or see is that if you want to accomplish something like this, you want to be your own person, you want to be your own business owner, put in the work. So if you're listening, take a good listen. Okay.
That is facts right there. And listen, we're both mothers, we're both wives, right? And so that's a
Mhm.
whole nother aspect of your life. But
There you go.
nothing, we could just go back to nursing school. That wasn't easy. You had to put in work. Anything
Yes.
that you want to accomplish is, going to be work. My marriage being, 28 plus years was work, right? So anything that you want to
Shout out to y'all.
accomplish. Thank you. Listen, it was work, okay? I love that man, okay? Just in case he
There you
watching, I
go.
love you. No, but anything is work. So, I think social media sometimes makes us believe that, I'm gonna go viral and then I'm gonna be making $1 million or six figures or whatever different people like, oh, I did this thing and I made this amount of money.
Right.
Trust and believe the successful, even social media people are putting in work. They're putting
Yes.
in work.
Yes. Yes. I think some people they misunderstand. They think like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a viral video, and then that's gonna be it. That's gonna
No,
be
you
it."
got to back that up now.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I remember I had a mentor reach out to me about a year ago, and I was
Uh-huh.
just making content, and he reached out to me. He said, and I remember his name was Kevin. He was a former Navy guy, and he's currently a nurse. Shout out to Kevin if you're listening to this, man. And he was like, "Are you just making content for the sake of making content? Or are you making content for a purpose?" And I
Mm,
thought about it. I was like, "Right now, I'm making content just to make content." He said, "Think about something you actually love to do, and then make content from that." And
right.
that's how this podcast got started.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Man, I love podcasts." He said, "Well, okay, we'll make podcasts." I said, "Okay, well, cool. I'm gonna just make podcasts." So, I mean, eventually I have my own visions and dreams for where I want this podcast to go. But so if you're listening, I mean, you gotta start somewhere and you gotta make content with a purpose. So whatever your purpose is, don't just make it just to make it. Okay. If there's a need out there, kind of like what Sam and her team are doing. If there's a need out there, you need to go meet that need. Okay,
Mhm.
that's a good way to have content that is sustainable. Okay, so
Absolutely.
think about pain points. Think about, okay, what is something your community that they may need, and then try to address that. So if you're struggling, you're searching, that's just kind of like a little tidbit out there. But if you have a burning passion, you have a burning desire, then whatever that is, go all in for it. Okay,
Absolutely.
so that's what I'm gonna say
It's
out
the
there. That's
truth.
that's
And I mean,
yeah,
okay, let's even talk about what you're saying, that you were making content just to make it, but how many black male nurses, right? Because even male nurses
yeah,
alone, that's small and far in between.
small, yeah,
Yeah. And sometimes they don't get the what's the word I want to use? Even the big up or whatever that they should be getting as male
yes,
nurses, right?
yes,
So it's appreciative that you're here and you're doing what you're doing. Sometimes it's not look like, oh, a male nurse, but I've been grateful for some of my male nurses that I've worked with and come in encounter with for different reasons, because sometimes you need, listen, I need you to come in here with me, or this guy might feel better
yeah,
with you being his nurse tonight, you know
that's
what I
true.
mean? So it can
Yes,
go a couple of different ways, so it's
yes,
good to see you doing what you're doing.
yes, and I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. So, man, I'm gonna tell you what, man. I don't know if I'll have to bring you in for another episode or what, because I'm looking up. I'm like, dang, it's already been 26, 27 minutes. But okay, so let me switch points here. Where can people find you? Where can people find you? Find your business. Let people know where can they find you.
So we are on TikTok primarily. So we got you covered, Scrubs on TikTok. We are on Instagram. We got you covered. You can go to our website, we got you covered.org. We're in the TikTok shop. So if people are interested in actually buying, they can purchase right from TikTok or the website, either one. And we're always around different places. We did start a YouTube, but that one's kind of like a
Mm,
little bit here and there, just because, listen, this is a two-woman show. We don't have any employees yet, and we are just doing it how we can do it until we get to that next level.
that's
Yep.
right. I appreciate that. Okay, so we're gonna stop right here. We're gonna stop
Okay.
right here. But listen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming here talking
Absolutely.
about, how you got started. I really do, man. I feel like this is gonna be inspirational to a lot of people that's gonna be
I hope
listening. So
so.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I
I could
appreciate
talk for days. I'm a chatterbox. So listen.
that's why I'm like, yeah, we may have to cover some other
I'll
subjects.
come back. You just let me know when and we'll make it happen.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
I may have to take you up on that. I have to get
All
with your
right.
schedule and take you up on that, because there's a couple other things I can really get your thoughts and opinions on. I
He's
haven't
like,
even
I got some
touched
other stuff to talk about.
I haven't even touched on scrubs and brands. I may have to say that for next time. I want to get your thoughts on some brands and stuff too. But we'll pause. We'll pause. I'm gonna give you some
That's
food
all
for thought.
good.
I'm gonna give you some food for thought too.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I appreciate you. Thank you guys for tuning in, whichever kind are in. Be on the lookout for this episode, man. Depending on where you listen to this, you may be listening to this just audio form. If you want to see the full version, it's going to be on YouTube, so be sure to check that out. And thank you guys. I love you guys, and peace.
Thank
If you like any of the content, please feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. If you want to continue to donate to the channel, you are more than welcome to. Your donations go a long way. Give me a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Much love. Thank you.